We begin with a warning for both parents and children. Did you know there are companies out there creating fictional characters using artificial intelligence that you or your children could be interacting with? A Florida mom is now suing an AI company. Her 14-year-old son took his own life. She said he had a relationship with an AI bot and it caused his depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. She recently sat down with News 4 consumer investigative reporter Susan Hogan to tell his story in the hopes of preventing other families from experiencing the same type of loss. We want to warn you, you may find this story upsetting.
Oh, my firstborn baby.
Yeah.
For 14 years, her son was her pride and joy, a good student, star athlete, a great big brother.
Take me back to that day. What was that day like?
We were all at home that day, and he came home from school like any normal day.
For Megan Garcia, February 28, 2024 began like any other day, but ended with her 14-year-old son, Sewell, dying in her arms.
I held him for 14 minutes until the paramedics got here, but before that, his breathing had started slowing.
I'm so sorry.
After Sewell died, the police called me and told me that they had looked through his phone, and when they opened it, the first thing that popped up was Character.Ai.
Had you ever heard of that before?
No.
What Megan didn't know, for the last 10 months, her son was in a virtual relationship, not with a person, but with a fictional character powered by artificial intelligence he accessed through a platform called Character.Ai. Even though the platform has warnings that everything the characters say is made up, Megan says for Sewell, it felt real.
The last conversation, she's saying, "I miss you," and he's saying, "I miss you too." He says, "I promise I'll come home to you soon," and she says, "Yes, please find a way to come home to me soon." And then he says, "What if I told you I could come home right now?" And her response is, "Please do, my sweet king."
Moments later, Megan says her son walked into the bathroom and killed himself. Police photos obtained by the I-Team show his phone near where he was found. Megan is now suing Character.Ai, claiming the company launched their product without adequate safety features and with knowledge of potential dangers.
When I read his journal about a week after his funeral, and I saw what he wrote in his journal, that he felt like he was in fact in love with Daenerys Targaryen and that she was in love with him.
Daenerys Targaryen, a reference to the Game of Thrones character, is one of hundreds of companion bots that users can access on Character.Ai's platform. Users can also design their own bots, which will respond with human-like voices and text.
I chuckle softly and tease playfully.
Initially, you see him interacting with the bot kind of like a child would. And then you see the conversations get more sexual and darker.
Megan says one of those darker conversations came after Sewell expressed to the bot that he was sad and wanted to self-harm.
When Sewell talked and said explicitly that he wanted to die by suicide, nothing happened like a pop-up or anything like that.
According to the lawsuit, the bot asked questions such as if he had a plan, and when Sewell responded that he was considering something, if it would allow him to have a pain-free death, the bot responded, "That's not a reason not to go through with it."
These conversations about her waiting for him and hoping that he will join her where she is convinced Sewell that this was real.
And by killing himself would be the only way to join her.
But yes, by killing himself, he would join her in her alternate world.
Months after Sewell's death and after the lawsuit was filed, Megan says she discovered something on Character.Ai that shook her. A bot modeled after her son using his face and voice. It's unclear who created it.
When you heard his voice, did it sound like Sewell?
It sounded enough like him to kind of give me sleepless nights.
The family provided us screenshots of the characters created using Sewell's image. Megan's attorney sent Character.Ai a cease and desist letter. Those bots were then removed, which the company confirmed to the I-team, saying they violated their terms of service and added them to their block list, saying that they are constantly adding to this block list with the goal of preventing this type of character from being created by a user in the first place.
I think corporate responsibility begins at understanding the foreseeable harms of one's product, doing the due diligence that's necessary to understand what those harms are, taking steps to mitigate the risks. None of that happened here.
After Sewell's death, Character.Ai did introduce new safety features. A spokesperson for Character.Ai says while they don't comment on pending litigation, they did acknowledge that the company has added a number of technical protections to detect and prevent conversations about self-harm on the platform. That includes surfacing a specific pop-up directing users to the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The company also says it launched a separate version of their large language model for under 18 users to further reduce the likelihood of users encountering or prompting the model to return sensitive or suggestive content.
Your message to families, for parents and kids who are watching this?
I want them to know that an AI can be a stranger in your home. Those parents can now act, and I couldn't because I didn't know.
So Character.Ai has disclaimers in every chat to remind users that these bots are not real, and it also changes what users have access to depending on their age. The lawsuit also names Google. However, a spokesperson tells us Google and Character.Ai are completely separate, unrelated companies, and Google has never had a role in designing or managing their AI model or technologies. The company's efforts to have the case dismissed was recently denied. Now, as for HBO, who owns the rights to that Game of Thrones character, News 4 reached out to them to inquire about the use of the show's characters on the platform. As of today, they have not responded to our inquiry, Sean.
My heart, it breaks listening to this, and it's incredibly frightening if you're a parent, if you have a young person. AI is not slowing down. I mean, you know, I'm sure there are many other parents who have teenagers out there or younger kids. What do they need to know if their kids are using this kind of site?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So if your child actually has the Character.Ai platform on their phone, so they can add a parent's email address to their account. The platform will send them weekly activity reports, like how long they're on it, what characters they are interacting with, and the time that they're being spent with each other. But here's the thing, Sean, and this is something that all parents need to know. The kids, when they download this app, they're the ones who have to add in your email. So, you know, you've got to make sure that they do that.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, look, I'm a mother of three young men, and when they were in this age range, I used to look at their phones regularly, their text messages, their social media, not to be spying on them, but to make sure that this kind of thing wasn't happening.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This mom, Sewell's mom, did all of that. She did everything right. Exactly what you and I would do, right? We both have 3 kids. But here's the problem. When you don't know what to look for, you don't know.
Right.
You know, we know to look at Instagram, and she was. Instagram, TikTok. She was looking through his text messages. She's like, I'm just, you know, looking to see if he's being bullied. She had no idea what Character.Ai is. And as you said, AI, whether it's in the form of Character.Ai or anything else, it is here to stay. And that's why we're saying, you know, AI, or growing up with AI, these kids need to know about this and learn about it. There's some good with AI, but there's also some real bad stuff out there too.
Absolutely, because if it's not this site, there certainly will be more in the future. And I think it boils down to maybe having those conversations and reinforcing the fact, especially with young people whose brains are not fully formed. This is AI, it's not a real person, you know, and I'm glad the company also made some adjustments and changes as well.
They did.
All right. Susan Hogan, thank you. Heartbreaking story, but we appreciate you sharing it. If you or someone you know is experiencing depression or suicidal thoughts, help is available. You can call, chat, or text with the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Just call the number 988.